Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Drag Race RHAP here on reality TV RHAPups. I'm your host, Liana Boraas, and we are here to talk about RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars Mother Tucking Winners, episode 6. And we are talking Giving Out Stars, Y2K, and Dolly Parton. And I am very much looking forward to breaking this all down with my wonderful co-host, Aman Adwin. Aman, how are you?
I'm great. Enjoying this wonderful Father's Day / Juneteenth weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and watching Drag Race. What can I say? It's been a great weekend. I've had a good time.
Good. Yes. Yeah. Not a lot to complain about on my end either. I was just telling Amon I spent the whole day watching Love Island, catching up on the UK season. But no, Drag Race, all Drag Race here on our podcast. Now, of course, as you may hear or see, Beth is not with us today, but she will hopefully be back next week. So it's just going to be Amon and I going through everything. Okay, let's get into this. So, we got a number of headlines to talk about. We've got a challenge, but I think the first thing we got to address is follow up from last week, which was the giving away of the stars. So, Jinx and Raja, because they won last week, now have the ability to give away two legendary legend stars. No, what are they called? Is
Yeah,
that what they're
that's
called? Legendary legend stars?
legends.
Legendary legend stars. So, Mon, what did you think about their decision? So, Jinx gave the star to Jada and Raja to Evie.
Yeah, I looked back to see what we had said at the end of last week's podcast, and we were dead on.
Mm-hmm.
We said it would probably be Evie and most likely Jade after that, and was pretty much for the same logic that they came up with themselves. Of course, give it to the queen that doesn't already have one, because
Mm-hmm.
why would you put someone in the lead or tie them up with you if you don't have to?
Right.
And then I guess for Jada, the logic behind that was you don't necessarily think that she's going to be a top contender for a lot of stars, which may or may not be their undoing in the end. Time kind of will tell. I mean, Jada is sort of a dark horse, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was pleased because I'm rooting for Evie Oddly. I don't like the fact that her only star is gifted at
Mm-hmm.
that point.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I know that I was making the point earlier that maybe giving out stars will decrease someone's value, but I don't know about that anymore because at the end of the day, if the name of the game is get as many stars to get to the finale, then who cares how you get them? Just get to the finale. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. Evie got a star, so I liked what happened.
Yeah, I mean, this is a banger episode for Evie, right? To go from
Yeah.
0 stars to 2 in
Yep.
one episode. I mean,
Yep.
you really can't ask for anything else.
Mm-mm.
So, and it's crazy because yeah, she goes from being last to being tied for first, essentially. I mean, it's her, Jada, and Jinx that all have 2. So,
Right.
yeah, that's wild. And I mean, I think it's interesting that Jada being the one to get the other one because we do have a design challenge coming up. And that was the episode where Jinx or Jada got her first star, right? Was in the
Mm-hmm.
ball challenge. So yeah, I mean, Jada could have 3 stars depending on what ultimately ends up happening this next week. But anyway, all right, yes. So that's where we stand, and then going into the Maxi Challenge, we talked about this last week, but it is the live Y2K girl group fantasy flashback episode of MTV's TRL. So we have the girls in 2 groups that they got to form on their own. There's of course a little bit of drama associated with that, and then they had to record and perform their song. So Aman, how did you feel overall about the challenge?
I always love challenges like this. I'm a big fan of if there's one thing that I do like about the 2000s from what I remember, because I was a child back then. I don't really remember a lot, but I do remember Britney Spears, and I remember NSYNC, and I remember Backstreet Boys, and I remember a little bit of the Spice Girls. I remember all that stuff. I remember
Mm-hmm.
TRL, even though I was a little too young to really, really know what was going on. I remember it. So I was excited to see what they were gonna bring, and I'm kind of lukewarm on both groups, but maybe that's just kind of what the 2000s were giving, and I was just too young to really see past it. I don't know.
No, I will say I was very excited for this episode. I mentioned it last week. And I didn't really get that like Y2K realness fulfilled for me with the looks and then the song. The second song, the Together Forever, gave me a little bit more of like
Mhm.
the, Y2K 2000s sort of vibe. But the first song, not really. I mean, I get that they were trying to throw in the jokes, the like all of the sort of references, but the
Right.
actual like music and the looks for me like didn't 100% do it. I think part of that I had high expectations, but like I remember watching TRL. I remember coming home and like turning it on before my parents got home because I was like so excited to watch TRL. I didn't want them to see. So yeah, and I watched this episode with my mother, and I like pointed her to some music videos. So we watched like some of Britney's early stuff. We watched Say My Name from Destiny's Child. I was like, this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I just really didn't like 100% feel that. I mean, overall, it was a fun episode. I think that the queens, of course, like they're all very seasoned performers, but it just didn't scratch that Y2K itch for me.
Yeah, I think part of it was there was a lot of well, you know what? We'll wait till we get to that part of it.
Okay.
How about that?
All right. Well, I mean, first, so the groups, right? So the two
Yeah.
songs, there was the breakup song Titanic, which is Monet, Raja, Trinity, and Shay, or Mister, and then they had the love
Mhm.
song Together Forever with Jada, Jinx, Evie, Viv, the other girls.
Mhm.
Um, oh my God, I like so the whole drama, of course, with how everything formed ended up giving like the other girls this whole wacky storyline that they all just ended up running with. It was like doing a comedy
Mhm.
bit while also doing like Y2K realness. I was a little nervous for how it was going to turn out. So I was actually pleasantly surprised that worked. It worked much better than I thought because I was like, you're trying to do a performance and do a comedy sketch kind of like all at the same time.
Yeah, it was I feel like it was a tall order. I thought that we were gonna get the edit of here they go, trying to make the best of a crappy
Hmm.
situation. They've been thrown together in this hodgepodge group. Now they're going to find a way out of it. And the minute that the Vivian said, I want the critique to be, I have no idea what I just watched, but I loved it. I was like, when you go for that kind of critique, I feel like you leave a lot of
Yeah.
possibility for a grand screw up, but it looks like it was a self-fulfilling prophecy and they actually did what they said that they were going to do, which I think is pretty rare when it comes to this edit a lot of the time. So,
Hmm.
yeah, as far as how the groups formed, yeah, I definitely feel like there was a bit of a cool girls type of clique thing going on. Um where Shay and Trinity and Monet, maybe they sort of feel like they're like, oh, we're like we're like the performers of the group. Like,
Hmm.
Jinx is great, but Jinx isn't really a performer, and Jada's kind of like there, and Evie's like great, but she's sort of like awkward, and like the Vivian, like I don't even know about the Vivian.
Yeah.
So
Well, because I mean, the Vivian, I think that was the first time in the bottom was the girl group challenge from her original season. So like, I'm sure
okay.
they look at that and they're like, no, 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 no,
Hmm.
like, no, thank you.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a lot to contend with because of course at this point in the game, everybody wants to catch up and get a second star while they can. Now that everyone has a star, so yeah, it's like with these challenges, you gotta try to win it, even if that means grouping up with people that you would later on consider competition down the line. Because ultimately, if your group does well, you could be helping out another queen that is going to do well in the end. So
Hmm.
yeah.
I think Jinx's take of, well, pick what song you want to do and then go from there. But I think because there was already sort of the initial settling of the groups
Yeah.
that it was like it was too late for people, I think, to really change their mind. And because that group of definitely I don't know about Raja, but definitely Shay, Trinity, Monet, it felt like they wanted to work together.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, well, whatever. We'll do the song that
It's an
you guys want to
alliance.
do.
I'm
Yeah, it's
surprised
an
we didn't get more
alliance.
of that talk in the DR. Like they could have just been. I mean, because we know that Trinity and Monet are the
Monet.
twinners,
Hmm.
so I was surprised that they weren't giving that to us in the DR. But
Hmm.
we see it. We see it. We know what's going on. We know what's going on, and so does the Vivian. It's just like okay, it just seems like we've sort of been just put together, and I'm not really sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, it was interesting that Viv was really the only one that we got to see. I mean, obviously she had the sort of strongest reaction to that, but it would have been
Hmm.
interesting to hear what the other girls thought about, the way
Yeah,
that things were
she backed
segregated.
off so fast. She was like, "Oh, no, I know we've been
Whatever.
programmed to be the lovey-dovey season. So let me just put my head back into my hole. It's all good. I'm good. We're
Yeah.
good."
You've heard no critiques on the runway, even when Raja doesn't even know the words to her own lyrics that she wrote, but that's fine. Oh man, yeah. Okay, so yeah, what else is there to say before we just get into the actual performances? The editing of the other girls singing, like the recording session, was so funny. I was
Yeah.
dying. Like the interspersed, the modem noises with Jinx just holding on a note and Jada making fart sounds was just like,
Which
what am
did
I
that even
watching?
make the final cut?
I
The long note? I don't think it did.
Okay. So I didn't
Was it a
notice it the first
background?
time. Yes, it was like at the very end. You can barely hear it, but you can actually see Jinx like holding the note. But
Okay.
it's very difficult to hear. I thought it was going to be a bigger
A whole
part of
thing,
a
yeah.
whole thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all right. So the first thing when they started doing the performance, obviously you have Carson Gailey there,
Mhm.
who is Ross Matthews, which
Mhm.
I was like, well, could you have gotten Carson for Carson Gailey? But Ross Matthews
Mhm.
in drag, oh my god. I didn't recognize him. I genuinely didn't. I was like, did they get Carson Daly and he just like looks different now or what? I was genuinely shocked when Ross Matthews like looking like that. I don't know if it's like because he lost a lot of weight like recently.
Mhm.
Was it the facial hair, the little soul patch thing for Carson Daly? I don't
Mhm.
know. It was wild.
I must say, like, I was like, "Oh, okay."
Mhm.
I felt what he was putting down. I got it. Like, it
He
was
was
a
in
nice
character.
it was an interesting departure. Yeah, I was like, I believed it too. I for moments I like forgot it was Ross.
Yeah. Yeah.
So well done, sir. Well done. Maybe Ross needs to start doing some acting or taking Carson Gailey on the road because that was
Yeah.
fun.
I
Just bring TRL back and have him be the host.
or yeah, I was gonna say, like, if he wants a permanent gig at one of the drag shows in Vegas, he can be the
Yeah,
host. I thought it worked really well. It was very
I was
surprising.
into it.
Um, oh, one other thing. Okay, I was talking to Mike Bloom about this. I don't know if you noticed it. Do you watch with the captions? Like the closed
So
captioning?
Paramount Plus with these damn captions, they're always like 10,000 years behind, and I just can't. It's so irritating and distracting. So I just don't do
Yeah.
it. And
Okay.
half the time, the captions are incorrect. Like that is not what that bitch just said. Like,
Yeah, my favorite is when it's just like queen 1, queen 2, like
right.
doesn't know their name. Like you can put their names. But anyway, so I noticed it this week and apparently it's happened before also cuz sometimes I've captioned, sometimes I don't. But when Tuvalu also by the way, I have been saying that wrong. Tovlo or whatever is how I was saying it. So,
The time before Friday is now known as BCP, before correct pronunciation, because the way that that has rocked the world, all of the gays and the girls, I could not
yeah.
escape this conversation surrounding Tuvalu's name. And the thing is like I wasn't as gagged because I remember there was an interview that she was doing at some
Hmm.
point, and I remember she said it. She was like, "Oh, actually, it's pronounced this way." But because
Okay. So,
Tuvalu
yeah.
doesn't really come up in conversation for me,
Right.
I just didn't think about it.
Yeah.
But everybody else apparently had like, and she tweeted as such. She was like, "Guys, this is not news. Like I've talked about this already." Like, I was
Okay,
like,
well,
"I know, girl. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." Tuvalu.
I was part of the group. I was part of the gays that found out that it was that's how you pronounce her name. I've never ever gotten a TikTok from her ever in my life, and it came across my front page like 2 days ago. I was like, yep, this is taking the world by storm.
I love
Anyway,
it
so
though. I love it.
she says in her intro, she says like zigga zigga,
Oh
and
yeah, I heard about this. Yep.
yeah, the captions, RuPaul said, I mean, I assume RuPaul, what did you call me? But the actual video, like of Ru saying it, is edited out, but it's still in the captions. And it's happened before, but the same joke, the what did you call me? It was like during Trinity's runway one week. So anyway, that
Yeah.
was very
So
exciting.
it it aired in the UK. Like if you go, or yeah,
Yes.
if you
Yeah.
go on the Wow Presents Plus edit for the episode, he says that. But if it's on the Paramount Plus, then it's gone. Which I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, so is Viacom thinking that joke is too offensive.
Yeah.
When I'm like,
Uh,
I don't think so. I mean, I feel like cutting it out just made the fact that Tuvalu and RuPaul were laughing at each other so stupid to me. It was like, what was funny about any of that?
yeah. Yeah, it's weird. And because it's the same joke, I'm like, oh, some exec somewhere is like, no,
They
like
just want
this
to
is
skirt around
offensive.
any kind of like N-word or N-word
Yeah.
like
Related.
adjacent jokes. I personally I found it funny. I thought it was
Hmm.
hilarious, but
Yeah, I
whatever.
mean, yeah. Anyway, okay. So that controversy aside, all right. Titanic. So Mister, they were the first group to perform. So Monet, Trinity Shay, and Raja. What did you think of their performance?
Yeah, I agree with what you said earlier. I feel like the song itself, which isn't really, excuse me. Oh my god. Oh, woo! I have been drinking all this damn soda, y'all. I'm so addicted to it. It's so good. Like
Wait, what is it?
you might not think that flaming hot Mountain Dew is good, and I know that I probably just lost a lot of people, but it is so like think think
Wait.
like spicy margarita, but soda. That's what it gives, okay? And it's so good. I've been drinking them like for the past like 3 weeks, and I just can't get enough.
Is it
Um,
like is it flaming hot like Cheetos
so
flaming hot? Or
it's
is it
the
like different?
I think I think it's like the code red is the base flavor, but it's
Okay.
got like that flaming hot like zest to it. So it doesn't taste like the Cheeto, but there's like a
Uh-huh.
hint of like that same sort of like heat to it. So
Okay.
it's like
Yeah.
I was very surprised when I thought it was going to just taste like the damn Cheeto, but it doesn't. It's like it tastes great in like the best way possible. I love it.
Okay, it's a limited edition. So,
Yeah,
if
well, it's unlimited in this house because I didn't have like 12 of them so far. Like, woo!
oh no. We what did Puya bought flamin' hot mac and cheese. We haven't tried it yet,
Oh my
but
gosh, so that is one thing
that
that I'm a little afraid of that one. I'm a
I don't
little
know. We'll
afraid of
see.
that one. Yeah,
Mm,
you'll have to let me know.
he'll eat it. There's also, have you tried the Coke Starlight?
Starlight?
Yeah,
What's
there's like
Starlight?
star. It's like it's a new Coke flavor. It's like space flavored or something. What's it called? Starlight. Yeah, it's Coca-Cola's new Starlight flavor.
Oh, they just doing anything nowadays.
I
They
tried
also
it.
have
I didn't like it.
what did it taste like?
It kind of reminded me of like vanilla cherry. Like it was like they took all of their Cokes and just mixed them together is
Yeah,
how it felt.
they were at a restaurant and they just like did this thing where you go down the line
Yes. That's exactly what it was.
and put a
Yeah.
new wrapper on it. That's all they did. The same thing with Pepsi. Pepsi is like releasing. It's called Nitro, Pepsi Nitro, and
Uh-huh.
it's essentially Pepsi, but as if like you're pouring it from a beer tap, and it has like foam on top, so it's basically
It's like a
flat ass Pepsi with
stout Pepsi. Yeah,
foam. Yeah,
flat.
it's disgusting.
Ew, okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway,
together
this is
forever.
yes, together. No. Miss Titanic. What are we talking
Oh,
about? Yeah,
Titanic.
Titanic.
Yeah, sonically, I feel like the song wasn't giving me the early 2000s vibe.
Yeah.
It was definitely in that or in that vein rather, but yeah, I do think that the next song is a lot better. I also think something that was taking me out of it was I don't think that the group was cohesive, which is interesting because that's what Evie assumed that the girls were going to do. They were like, we're pretty sure that they're going to serve you, 2000s girl group realness. Like they're going to just serve it up on a platter and give it to you each and every way. And first of all, the fashion didn't really give me 2000s girl group.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I felt like none of them really sang. Most of them rapped, which isn't bad. Like rap and R&B is a huge 90s 2000s thing as well. So, but I just feel like in terms of like a pop group, and like I feel like there has to be more musicality to it, and then
Hmm.
rap sprinkled in. Like it has to be TLC and Left Eye is the rapper. It can't be all of you are Left Eye. Like it doesn't work that way for me. So, yeah, I don't know. And I felt like the lyrics that they chose, yes, they were trying to be witty and clever with all of the dial up and the pagers and all that stuff.
Hmm.
But I just felt like it sort of became a little bit too heavy handed, and I just wasn't relating to it as much as I would have liked. too.
Yeah, I wish I had a higher quality version, but here, I mean, here's a still from their looks. I also totally agree. I feel like this is like pop now or
Yeah.
like 2010s is
Yeah.
more the vibe that I get. I mean, they look stunning, but clearly they were not prepared for that. Like, I just don't think that they had the looks really for this challenge, which either I'm like, okay, were they like not prepped for this? And so they didn't know what they needed to bring. Like, they didn't know there was going to be like a 90s throwback challenge, or this was what they interpreted it as. Which when Trinity was like, I know low cut jeans, I was like, yes, that's all. I mean, the super like low cut jean look or just low
Mhm.
cut pants in general. Like, yes, that's what we're going for. So for everything here to be high waisted, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
you should have listened to Trinity. Raja looks stunning. Oh my God.
Mhm.
Her versatility as a makeup artist is just so outstanding. I mean, they all look good, but Raja was like glowing. Again, despite not knowing her own lyrics.
Yeah,
But
Monet is giving me like a little bit of Nicki Minaj
yeah,
type, like yeah, like
yes.
you're right. It is giving a lot of 2010s. And I mean, because the song was supposed to be about what? Like just like falling in love and it crashing like the Titanic
Mhm.
and I guess that's what they were serving in the lyrics, I guess. So maybe I'm being a little too harsh, but something just didn't land for me. I don't know.
Yeah, something just didn't land for me either.
I
I
feel like they
mean
were all over the place too. I feel like they weren't like cohesive enough as a group, and I guess part of that was like part of like the whole shtick of it all because during the interview session, Shay's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going solo," but even
oh
then, I was
yeah, that
just
was
like,
weird.
it just didn't feel right. I don't
It
know.
yeah, the TRL session for them was just weird. Like
Yeah,
yeah, you're right. It didn't necessarily feel cohesive. It feels like what they just went for a ton of references, which is
right.
definitely like, yeah, sure, okay. Like too busy T9 texting, that's one of Monet's lines. Kathy Lee dumped Regis, you're the weakest link,
Mhm.
and then Trinity's was just all about Justin Timberlake. And
Which, yeah, doesn't make much sense for me.
yeah, I don't know. It just if you're gonna do realness, I just didn't like necessarily get that. I mean, so yeah, Shea Coulee's was "What's wrong, boo? You CD skipping." Right. So again, like more because "Oops, I did it again." It was like very referential to which I mean, look, they all at least sort of had a similar idea of what they were trying to do, I guess. But I don't know. It
Right.
just didn't like it didn't really hit for me.
Yeah. I didn't realize. I mean, I don't think that Raja is like. I know that the whole joke about Raja being old is like a thing this season,
Hmm.
but I mean, I don't necessarily think that she's old. But then when I did have like a big reaction when she was in the confessional. She was like, "Yeah, so like all of these girls were probably in their teens. They were teenagers during the 2000s. I was like a full fledged grown adult, like in the club. So I was like, wow, wait, hold it, well, hold up, how old are you again? Like
Well, because
a
she
grown up in the 2000s. But then again, I guess that makes sense. So
She graduated in what, 1990? Cuz she's 58.
she's
40, no,
50.
48, 48,
I was
48,
gonna say
48, 48,
no
48.
way.
No.
There's no way she's 58.
Yeah, no, no, no. I meant 48. I was going to say she's almost 50. She's 48. And then that got merged together into one. But yeah,
Wow.
anyway, and look, you and her, neither of you really remember the 90s, but for the same reasons or for different reasons, I mean. So,
Yeah.
all right. Is there anything else that you want to say about Titanic? It was fine.
Titanic was fine.
It was fine.
It was simply fine. Yeah.
It was simply fine. Okay, let's talk about Together Forever. Ever.
Together
Oh, yes.
forever.
Okay. This is when I was like, this song is
Mm-mm-mm.
better, is because I had the exact same reaction. It was stuck in my head.
Yeah. And when you fall apart. Like it's just like it's sonically, it's just a better song. It's very reminiscent of the dun dun like
Yes.
Britney in sync. oh yeah, like that's all of that
Yeah.
is like in there. Like it's they. I think that's a huge reason, which isn't necessarily props to the queens because they didn't really. Well, I mean, well they did choose it. They did choose the song.
They chose
So
it. Mhm.
if I were. Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, if I were sitting on that couch and Jinx was like, "All right, choose the song that speaks," I'd be like, "Bitch, this one, like, this is the
Mhm.
one. This is the hit." Okay. So yeah, in that regard, good for their judgment. And I do think that even in the mess of all of the ideas, even in the cacophony that was all of their characters, I think they did have a more cohesive story because of the fact that they were grouped together and they were like the other girls, they're the failures of the group. And I think that their lyrics were simply better because they didn't feel so we're a pop girl group in the 90s. We are, trying to throw as many, or 2000s, we're trying to throw as many references in there as we can. Like, I mean, Jada entered this writing session with like a clear cut point of view of I'm the girl that needs to rap and also use the bathroom, but I'm also going to talk about how we're going to be together forever. But you're not my number one, you're my number two. Like it was all very like it all made sense. And then uh Evie being this robot girl and trying to for pure robot domination. Like everything they said they were going to do, they were going to do. They did it. So
Mhm.
it made sense for me.
The the Evie line from her starting of, "Yeah, I'll just be like the bumbling one that doesn't know what they're doing," to turning into a malfunctioning robot that needs to be restarted halfway through the performance is not the
Mhm.
story arc I expected.
Nah,
But
not at all.
yeah, I don't know. It just for some reason it just kind of worked. I don't know if that's maybe because like the other one I expected it to be more like spot on, whereas this they weren't necessarily trying to do that because they were kind of going for this bit. So
Hmm.
or yeah, I mean I definitely agree with the fact that the song felt just so much more Y2K than the other
Right.
one. So that might have been the sole reason.
I will
I don't
say
know.
that their outfits are kind of also not really giving
Yeah.
that look. I think that they all kind of failed in that
Yeah, I
respect.
agree. I maybe they just
Yeah.
weren't told that they needed something like 2000
Right,
because
right.
none of them had really anything close
Mm-mm.
for me. Again, they all look good. It doesn't scream 2000s.
Not at
The
all.
So the two winners also come from this group. So we have the Vivian and then Evie, who obviously end up getting star. Well, the Vivian doesn't get a star; 'cause she's blocked, but they end up, being the winners. And I think I think that was probably the correct decision.
Yeah, I remember after because I watched it in the morning that Friday, and so I was kind of a little groggy. And I saw a bunch of people tweeting, all throughout the day, and there was a large contingent of people that I'd seen saying, "Oh, um, I feel like Monet was robbed. Monet was robbed. Monet was robbed." And then I watched it again yesterday to prepare for the podcast, and I was like,
Mhm,
I don't think she was. I think that this is fine. Like I think that this was the stronger group in general.
mhm,
Um, and I think out of the stronger group, Evie and the Vivian had more pronounced characters. I think that Jinx definitely delivered what she said she wanted to deliver. I just don't
mhm,
know if it necessarily translated well for this challenge. I
mhm.
think that this is one of Jinx's weak points. Like she's not really that type
Right.
of showgirl. So
Mhm.
she had to try to find a way to make it her own, and she did that, but it wasn't necessarily the challenge. So yeah, I think that this was fine.
I thought she was gonna paint herself older. Like, I was like, if you're gonna go for the like, I'm the old lady of the group, really go for it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I expected a little bit more from that, but I also think part of the choreography that was like because it's together forever, and then they had the very sharp like hand motions that
Hmm.
felt very 90s choreo or 2000s choreography. So that
Yeah.
also just kind of fit. Yeah, I think if anybody, Shay to me did the best of the other group, but I agree with you that this group was just overall stronger.
Hmm. Totes my goats.
Totes, totes, totes. Okay. So, We have the looks to go
The
through.
lurks, the
The
lurks, the
lurks. Let me
lurks.
pull those up real quick.
Cover
All right,
girl.
so here's the other thing I will say about the fact that they did, it was like a 90s girl group challenge, and then the night of 1,000 Dolly Partons, which felt like two completely different things. And
Yeah.
I wanted more center. I wanted like the Dolly Parton one to be like, I don't know. I I know it makes sense because it's not like, oh, like spikes. What does that have to do with the actual episode main challenge? But it just felt like the night of 1,000 Dolly Partons. It would have been nice to just have the whole episode, but like be super cohesive. To have like
Mhm.
some other time period, like you could even do like a 90s look and then do like a 2000 song or something for the lip sync. It
Yeah.
just felt like two very completely separate episodes. I don't know why. Like my brain just couldn't process it. It was like you're doing something in the 2000s and then you're going to do Dolly Parton. It just like, I don't know, it didn't vibe for me.
Yeah. It was a very disjointed episode. You got them
Mhm.
doing Y2K stuff. None of them are really dressed like it. One of the songs doesn't even sound like it.
Yeah.
Then you have this Dolly Parton mess going on, and then you got Tuvlo over there, and her name is all of a sudden not Tovlo anymore, and then you don't even use one of her songs as the as a lip sync
Right.
song. Like, give me some bikini porn. If you guys don't know the song "Bikini Porn" by Tuvalu, like, oh, it's such a good pop song. Oh, I love it so much. I was really
Yeah.
hoping we would do it, but they gave it to
That
Dolly instead, which I guess makes a little bit of sense, but not really. Like,
Yeah, do it on an episode where there's not a singer there. I always
yeah,
feel bad when certain singers and they're on the show and their songs get used and then other ones are on and it's like a completely
yeah.
totally like
Yeah, it's
random or different
like, what are
song.
you doing? Like,
Did she not give her music like, I mean, why would you
I feel
not?
like they've definitely done
Tuvalu.
Tuvalu's music
Mm,
before. I
mhm.
feel like they have.
Yeah, and clearly, I mean, look, she went all out with her pioneered Pirate of the Caribbean dress and her cake
Mhm,
hat. Like, clearly, she's very much in this. And in
mhm.
Untucked, when Trinity was talking about, yeah, I've done, this song, and this song, like, obviously, she's very into it. So whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
fine. All right, so let's completely switch gears and talk about Dolly Parton. We'll start with Monet this week. So I'm not gonna lie, this was probably, apart from maybe the Vivian, this was my favorite Dolly Parton look. I just think this coat is absolutely stunning, and she looks so good here.
It is very pretty, and I recently came across the story behind this today. I didn't realize. Actually, also it was kind of funny because I've also been, as we've been going through All Star 7, I've been going back and looking at the seasons for each queen as they won, and so I started with All Stars 4 just to knock
Mm,
knock two birds with one stone. And I watched the episode recently where they had to bring their best Judies in the competition to make them over, and of course uh Monet's assistant Patty was her best Judy, and so Patty's mom sewed this dress like as she was
oh,
like sick, and so she
oh,
recently passed, and this was like one of the last things that she was able to do while she was still here. And so yeah, just to know like how much love and support like went into this dress,
mhm.
just sort of like made it more special to see it on the runway. So yeah, it's really beautiful. I'm always like a little like, ooh, how are they gonna do this? Like for some, I always worry for some queens on certain runways whenever they have to impersonate um another queen of a different race. So
Mm,
like when
mhm.
there's a black one that they're impersonating, and then we have a bunch of white girls or Asian girls that aren't as dark. I'm like, who? How are they gonna do that? And then vice versa. Like, is it easier to see the white queens as Dolly than the black queens? But I feel like there's still like even if you can't necessarily paint like that particular celebrity, you can still like embody that essence of that celebrity. And I feel like everyone brought like a slice of Dolly. And yeah, I definitely felt it when Monet walked down the runway with this dress.
Yeah, I think to the like the eyeshadow colors and everything just go really well. Like I think she potentially purposefully strategically like picked something that she knew would look good on her as well.
Right.
That's not just Dolly, but it's both, can function as both.
Right.
Okay, let's talk about Trinity, who had like a very comedic interpretation. I think her and Evie both did the same. Not gonna lie, it was a
Mhm.
little jarring at first. I was like, you kind of look like you're having a stroke. This
Yeah,
doesn't
it looked a
really look
little
like
messy.
Dolly Parton. It was a little messy. It was a little messy. Didn't know if that was on purpose. I assume it was based on her
Yeah,
actions.
because the lipstick is purposefully messy, right?
Uh,
Like,
yeah, and the eyeliner too, like, it goes I it goes out really far. I don't know if that was on
yeah.
purpose. She kinda looked like she was driving and doing her makeup and hit a bump, like,
I mean,
that's
I haven't really followed Dolly extensively, so I only really know like the really really simple stuff about her. I don't know. Is she like? Does she have like a messy side? Is she like known for like getting a little tipsy sometimes? Like, is that a thing with Dolly?
I mean, not like this. It was definitely I mean, the Vivian to me was like a spot on Dolly impersonation. So if you want to know like what it kind of looks like, she's obviously very over the top, but
Hmm.
it's less like manic. I
Right.
feel
It's
like, which is what both Evie and Trinity gave me. For Evie, I don't know, it just fits with her personality, and for Trinity, it just felt a little bit out of place. But I mean, the dress is gorgeous, so
yeah. The dress is gorgeous. Always exquisite taste from Trinity.
yeah. And it's interesting because like Dolly, I mean, Dolly does drag, right? Like her hair is fake, her boobs
Yeah,
are fake.
Dolly
That's
is
like
a drag
yes,
queen.
exactly. And so it's interesting I almost wanted even more. You have to do even more. Bigger titties. Like the breastplates were in full effect tonight, but I was like bigger, bigger. If you're
Hmm.
going to drag up someone who does drag, you have to like push it like crazy.
Right.
But anyway, okay, so Shea Coulee, doing a little bit of a different Dolly take, but you can definitely see the similarities with the outfit that she chose.
Yeah, it's given it was giving Dolly. I mean, I think she said it correctly. I think Dolly dipped in chocolate. Like it was giving me like
Hmm.
Dolly got kidnapped by one of her girls from Brooklyn, and they gave her like a little bit of a makeover, and they were like, "Okay, this is how we get down over here. Okay, like you are
Hmm.
not in the South anymore, honey." And that's kind of what it gave me. I feel like it was definitely a melding of Shay's proclivities with Dolly, which
Hmm.
which I don't necessarily know if that's the assignment, but she still looks good.
Hmm. Yeah, I think for me the wig was the only thing that was a little off, but otherwise I liked her interpretation of it. It's exactly what you said. It's the
Mhm.
the the mixing of the Shea. It's not a direct impersonation.
Mhm.
Okay, let's talk about a Raja, who has on a gajillion wigs here. I mean, the dress is so stunning. I think she looks absolutely beautiful. It still didn't quite do as solid of an impersonation, especially when you compare to the person who we're gonna talk about next, the Vivian. But I thought it was good.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the hair is definitely the centerpiece for this. And the paint is maybe a little too ghostly for me,
Hmm.
but Dolly is a pale woman, so do what you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, it's the under eye concealer. It looks like she has setting powder and forgot to brush it off before she
Yeah.
walked out there. Like it's a very stark contrast. Maybe it's the lighting, but yeah, that
Mhm.
is the one thing that definitely looked a little bit off. Okay, the Vivian. I
Mm.
mean,
Okay, yeah, with this side by side, I definitely see it more now, yeah.
her makeup, maybe she already kind of looks like Dolly a little bit, maybe that helps, I don't know, the face shape, like definitely we'll talk about when we talk about Jinx, the her face shape is just different, so it doesn't like quite
Yeah.
translate as well. But here I thought also just the mannerisms were so good, and part of me wonders if she was chosen for the lip sync because it was a Dolly song, and like her I mean she could be a Dolly Parton impersonator, I think.
Right. Yeah, I definitely, yeah, I see it like little nose thing that she's got going
Mhm.
on, the contour, the hair, even like the facial expression. I feel like I've definitely seen Dolly smile like that before. Yeah, it's yeah, I see it.
Mhm.
Mission
Yeah.
accomplished.
Again, bigger titties. I wanted bigger titties, but That's okay. I'll take
Va
it.
va va va
And,
boom.
and now part of me, I think I saw, where did I see this? But I saw somebody, it was either Twitter or Reddit, that was like, do you think the Vivian said, I never wear blue, knowing that she's got like 15 blue looks? Because she has worn blue. This is what, the fourth or fifth time now,
Yeah.
despite saying I don't wear blue. I know we talked about it last week, but I just wanted to mention it again because she's wearing blue again.
If she wears it again next week, then we know what's up.
Yeah, it's a conspiracy theory. All right. Jada Essence Hall getting the most out of her breastplate this week, jiggling those things around.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really get a lot of Dolly from this. It kind of just looked like Jada in yellow to me.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. Maybe it's the paint. And even the boobies, I feel like were just like not big enough either. Like I feel like the boobs should not, like, your rib cage should not be seen. Like I feel like you need to have like some big old melons just sitting right there, okay? And then maybe I'll get a little bit more Dolly. But it did, and even the energy, like as I'm remembering her walk,
Hmm.
I don't know. I just didn't get Dolly. And like I said, I know it's a little harder for the chocolate girls because their physical barrier is there. But
Hmm.
even so, I feel like it's still possible if you give the energy, and I didn't get the energy from her.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the the reference picture does her a little dirty. I mean, I don't know if this is the actual dress, like this gold dress is the actual dress that she was trying to replicate.
Hmm.
But I mean, her dress is yellow, this one is gold. The fringe you can't quite see, the silhouette is different. Like there's just so much different about the look that I think she was trying to go for. And I think that that also kind of throws me off of it, not
Yeah.
like completely fitting Dolly. I mean, she's got got the red nails, got the blonde
Hmm.
hair, is going for it. But, Jada does Jada. But it just,
Hmm.
yeah, it didn't really like 100% come across as Dolly to me.
Right.
Okay, Jinx Monsoon. Okay, so this is where I want to say there's something about the shape of the hair and the lack of the contour on her jawline. She does not look like Dolly to me. Her face looks so round with the round wig. It just like makes her face also look round, and Dolly has that like really well-defined jaw. So, I was not getting Dolly from her.
And yeah, and she's the cinching. I think
Yes.
could have been a little bit more severe
Yep.
to really give us that shape. To be honest, I thought it was Trixie Mattel for a second when she came
Ah!
up. I thought it was Trixie Mattel in like her little album cover, Two Birds, whatever the hell that album is called. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
so yeah, not Dolly, not Dolly for me, Jinxie.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Yeah, and I mean, again, the like, I get, because what was it that they called? It was like the Untucked clip where they said that it was very, oh my god, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like, important, like Rue and Carson, or Rue and Ross were both like, oh, this is like such a an important era of Dolly for me. The working 9 to 5, like when she was like truly a country star.
Hmm.
And so obviously they had kind of an emotional connection. And I was like, I don't this isn't like quite doing it for me. But okay. Sure. Sure. Okay, and the last look to talk about is Evie Oddly also being just an odd one this episode, all in all.
Yeah, it was odd. You could tell that this is not Evie in the slightest, and I feel like that's what made her really, really go for it on the runway. I mean, she
Hmm.
said as such in the confession, like, "This is not me at all," but I'm gonna give it my all. And the walk that she did, man, like I thought that she was gonna keep walking. I thought she was gonna walk right off the runway and onto the floor. It was so the pep in her step.
Hmm.
Holy hell!
This is definitely Evie's interpretation for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gorgeous. The white looks really, really good on her. And she's going for it. I think it's it's always tough when queens have sort of a really limited aesthetic, I mean, like range, right? Because like typically when you have a challenge, it's like spikes. Oh, okay, you can do whatever you want with spikes, but here you have to pick one person, so you're limited to the range that you can choose from depending on who that person is. So, all the props to Evie for really going for it and and putting her unique twist on it. Now that we're talking things through, here's what they should have done. They haven't done Brittany or Christina, right? Yet. So Night of 1,000 Britneys. Have they done Brittany? No, they've
I
done Madonna,
don't think
Cher.
so.
Madonna and Cher?
They've done Madonna, they've done Cher, they've done Gaga. Yeah, maybe I don't think they've done Britney.
Yeah, I don't think they've done Britney.
I think what's throwing me off is because of Derek Barry, and there obviously have been many Britney references on the show, so it makes me feel like collectively there have been 1,000 Britneys, but I don't think that there has been
Yeah,
an
they did
official runway.
J-Lo, but I think that's the only.
Yeah, they've done J-Lo. They did J-Lo for season 14.
Yeah, they should have done Night of
I feel
1,000
like
Britneys.
they do a celebrity every season, right?
Well, they started more recently, right? Well, they did. I think the first one was
Was it Gaga in season 9?
Gaga in 9 when she was the guest judge
Okay.
for that first episode. Oh no, season 8 because the kimono gate.
Oh yeah, Madonna, and they all did kimonos.
Yes, I think that was the first one
Okay.
that I can remember. But anyway, that would have fit thematically with the episode, and it would have
It should have been Britney.
Should have been Brittany. It would have felt a little less jarring. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but when Rue was describing the challenge, and was describing that it's MTV's TRL, she listed Think Destiny's Child, Britney, Xtina, Eden's Crush. It's like one of these things is not like the other.
He just had to just throw some obscure ass shit in there just cause.
It's like, isn't that Nicole Scherzinger's like old group? Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Defunct.
that was a choice. It was nice to see Leland back. Leland and Freddie, I thought they were fun in the recording session.
Yeah, it was.
Just another.
They know how to pull some stuff out of the queens.
Okay, so we talked about this, but the top two, Vivian and Evie, Viv. And so the song that they're going to get is Why'd You Come In Here Looking Like That by Dolly Parton. I was excited for Evie to lip sync. This is just not her song, It just wasn't.
Yeah. I liked the song though. I was like, because I'd never heard it before. I was like, oh my goodness, I like this Dolly song. I have a little bit of Dolly on my in my repertoire. That was not one of them, so I did download the song after that. But yeah, I feel like some of the lip sync songs this season have been sort of like out of left field, which isn't always a bad thing because I feel like sometimes you get stuff like, the first one with Shay and Monet with Old McDonald, and that turns out to be like, oh my god, it's like the most amazing thing ever. And then sometimes you get this song, which isn't shade to Dolly, but I don't necessarily know if the queens were equipped to handle it. And we know how I feel about when there's songs that queens are not equipped to handle.
I felt like the Vivian, because she really had the impression down, it worked for her. But I just felt like Evie was still kind of doing this like the comedy thing. And I don't think that necessarily translated for me. So when you have sort of like one person that's doing a very intense impersonation, like has the mouth movements down really and everything, like just felt very Dolly. And then to have sort of the comedy take, to me, like that didn't quite hit in the same way.
Right.
So I think to me the winner was obvious. The Vivian should take this, and then also of course we get the drama of the blocking as the person who was just blocked, and so that also for the drama of it all. I think that it also worked out anyway.
Definitely.
So yes, okay. So what do you think about the decision for the Vivian to block Jinx?
Right on. That's what you should do. I mean, you have effectively opened this war between the two of you. I don't know why you decided that you were going to tell Jinx that you were thinking about blocking her last time, which only made her block you, but now you have to block her right on back because clearly, it's getting down to the wire. They were talking about it before. This is the halfway point. You only have, maybe 3 or 4 more challenges to get in. So, yeah, block her ass now. Do it now while you can.
Because I mean, they were talking about that, like, they're at the halfway point, right? So you kind of have a sense. I think I would. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think if she would have known that it would have been a design challenge. Like, could you have predicted it was going to be a design challenge? Because obviously that's not Jinx's strong suit. And so
Mhm.
she doesn't have to worry about her winning a star for a design challenge. Based on what episodes we've had so far. But
Mhm.
I don't know. How could you know? You kind of
How
have
could
to.
you know?
How
Yeah.
could you know? You kind of just have to pick somebody that has 2 stars, and Jada is your only other option, right? Because Evie was the other top 2 this week. She's got 2 stars, but she can't be blocked. So if you're gonna block somebody that has 2, you have to either pick Jada or Jinx. And Jinx is the only one who won both her stars, right? Because
Mhm.
Jada won one and was given one. So
And
if
then
you
maybe on one hand, this also works out because, like, if you sort of, like, continue this feud with
Mhm,
Jinx, it makes people, other people less inclined to block you because they're like, "I don't have to do that because you and Jinx are clearly going at it, so I'll just let y'all keep doing that to each other." And, maybe that, helps her garner a little bit of, like, goodwill with the rest of the queens, so I don't
mhm.
know.
Yeah, I don't know. I kept going back and forth on it because I think part of me I totally see that logic of, well, then, no one else is going to really look at you because they're like, "Oh, like those two are in a feud. They're just going to keep blocking each other, like
Mhm.
whatever." But then on the other hand, you will always be a target for Jinx, and Jinx has obviously proven that she's going to win a lot. So, do you want to necessarily be like the one target for her, because you're so like blatantly going after her and developing this rivalry and this feud? But on the other
Mhm.
hand, she is the queen that's the best at the kind of your area, your shtick. And she's got 2 stars. And it would be, again, between her and Jada, would be the only 2 that you could block that have 2 stars.
Right.
So, I don't know. I kinda I kinda went back and forth on it of, like, maybe you take this as an opportunity to bury the hatchet and be like, "Look, I said I was going to, I'm not gonna do it." But she also got blocked by Jinx, so it's a tit for tat kinda thing. And, she did, like you said, she meant, like Viv mentioned, "I would have blocked you, but you were not available." So it's like, you might as well just go through it. If you're gonna say
Yeah.
it, just go through with it. And you've already been blocked by her, so I guess I get it, but
Mhm.
but anyway, so all right. So that means that Jinx next week will not be able to win. Well, she can win, but she can't get a star. But it kind of doesn't matter because, as I mentioned, it's going into a design challenge. And so I'm not sure I 100% understood this correctly, but they have to create a legendary legends look, but a look based on one of Rue's looks, or did I make that up?
I think that's what he said. Basically, like, they're recreating RuPaul looks. that's,
Yeah. Okay.
that's what they're doing. It's the night of 1,000 ruse, but
Mhm.
you're making it instead of you having someone else make it for you.
Right. All right. Anything else, Aman, that you want to say about this week's episode?
No, I'm having a lot of fun as per usual. It when they were talking about it being the halfway point, I was like, oh damn, already? Like, it didn't feel that way. We're already like 7 episodes into this thing. That's crazy.
I
So I
know.
yeah, and I really, I mean, apart from the theory that I postulated at the beginning of this, I don't really know who's going to win because if you can go from having 0 stars to having 2 stars in one episode, then and I'm still of the impression that there will probably be some twist later down the line where it's like you get to steal a star. I feel like that's going to be a thing. So this is very much up in the air.
Hmm.
Very much up
Right.
in the
I mean, let's see. Yeah. So Evie, Jada, and Jinx have 2. Everybody else has 1. That's 11 stars so far that have been handed out.
air.
So we
Mhm.
could very much see a tie going into the finale, which then I don't know how that would work, if it would be based on like lip sync wins trumps just being in the top 2. So for example, like Trinity's got 2 wins. um but I believe she was blocked, so she didn't get a star, but she has no lip sync wins, whereas the Vivian has won both the lip syncs for the challenge, so, or like, are they gonna let the queens decide? I genuinely have no idea, but I could absolutely see a tie just based on the fact that we have now everybody is tied for either first or last, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Maybe a
we
Lollapalooza or something. I don't know.
Oh my god, could you imagine if they did a lip sync Lollapalooza to determine the people that will participate in the lip sync Lollapalooza?
Yeah,
Um,
the lip sync for the lip sync.
do you think they already recorded the lip sync? Or do you think it's gonna be a live finale?
I feel like, well, for All Stars, no, I think it's probably already recorded because they don't really have live audiences for All Stars, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't think
it's
we've seen
probably
that
already in the
yet.
bag. They probably recorded a bunch of finales already, and we'll just find out when they do. Yeah.
Mhm. Oh, okay. Very exciting. Well, we will be here to cover everything from the next episode going into episode 7, Legendary Legend Looks. We will see what the Drag Race gods have in store for us. Okay, so Aman, where can people find you? What are you doing? Um, what's going on with you?
You can find me everywhere at Aman Adwin. My social media break is no no more. And yeah, that's it. I'm still just mainly just Drag Race for right now.
hmm
Yep.
Same for me. You can find me on Twitter at Liana RHAP, podcasting about, Drag Race. I'm going to be a guest on the 90 Day Fiance podcast next week. Not this week, but next week. So I'm really excited. I think next week. I don't know. I'll ask my husband. So that should be really fun. I'm excited to do kind of a mid-season checkup with 90 Day Fiance and talk about all of that with Puya. So if you would like to support us and help us out, you can leave your star ratings and reviews for us on iTunes. Rob has a website.com/drag race. And yeah, that does it for us today. So thank you to Scott St. Pierre for all your help behind the scenes, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.